Headlines have been buzzing with legal drama surrounding the film It Ends With Us, with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni entangled in a defamation battle that raises fundamental questions about free speech, media influence, and the limits of reputation protection. As the lawsuits unfold, we're left wondering, where should the line be drawn between protecting one's name and allowing open public discourse? This is Beyond the First. From the basement studios of WSOE at Elon University, this is Beyond the First, a podcast where we explore the intersection of media law, ethics, and real-world impact. I am your host, Israel Balderas. In the series, we're diving deep into the legal and ethical dilemmas shaping the media landscape today. And for today's episode, we're tackling defamation law and the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni It Ends With Us controversy. Now, on the legal side, defamation law is meant to balance the right of free speech with the need to protect individuals from false and harmful statements, right? But in high-profile cases like this one, where legal claims and public narratives intertwine, does the law truly serve justice, or does it even become a weapon of reputation management? I'm here joined with Cami Ohl and Ben Hecht, two of my students from Media Law and Ethics. And I should say right off the bat, I don't follow Hollywood, right? I just don't. I'm not a big fan of it. But I got to tell you, this whole Blake Lively It Ends With Us movie with Justin Baldoni, I didn't even know who Justin Baldoni was. And the only reason why I knew Blake Lively is because of her husband, Ryan Reynolds, because I love Deadpool. So maybe you two can tell me a little bit more about this fiasco, because the only reason why I'm following Cami is because it's a defamation case, right? It's extreme emotional distress case. It involves Marvel and it involves the movie Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, what are you thinking about when it comes to this case and this whole fiasco in Hollywood?
I really only knew Blake Lively from Gossip Girl. I didn't even know who Justin Baldoni was before this, but I read the book, It Ends With Us. I never saw the movie, but before this kind of blew up.
What is the book about, by the way?
This book, well, I read this a really long time ago, but it's about this girl, Lily, and she owns this kind of flower shop, and her and, I forget the main guy character's name, but the guy who plays by Justin Baldoni, they fall in love, and it's kind of their whole romantic relationship.
Yeah. Have you been following the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni case outside of this class? Like, were you familiar with what's going on?
Yeah, when I first heard about it when it first started going around, I also didn't know who Justin Baldoni was, or I didn't really know who Blake Lively was either, so it was kind of my first introduction to who they were as people. But no, I've been really invested in it for the past couple months because I just think it's interesting, and kind of in terms of how the movie has been such a big blockbuster hit. It's such a big cultural movie. It's definitely an interesting conversation that I've been following.
And we should at least let the audience know, here's sort of the big picture, right? So Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, they do this movie called It Ends With Us. It's released, last year in August on Netflix. It's a big-time movie, right? I mean, it got a lot of attention. But behind the scenes, Blake Lively accused Justin Baldoni of creating a hostile work environment. And during the filming of the movie, she asked for things like, I want to make sure to have these protections for me, right? Having a coordinator to make sure that our sex scenes are appropriate. And I don't want Justin Baldoni coming into my trailer without permission. So while all this was going on, according to the New York Times, what happened right before the premiere is that Justin Baldoni hired a PR company. And we only know this because of court filings. As you notice, I'm citing the court documents because that's a defense. The defamation is neutral reportage. But according to the court documents, Justin Baldoni hired the PR company to bury Blake Lively, ruin her reputation, so that if she ever came out and said what happened on the set, that therefore her reputation would already be ruined, would be tainted. And sure enough, if you go back to August, September, and October, there were efforts on the news to make Blake Lively look bad, especially Cammie, when she was doing what we call the presser on the movie It Ends With Us. And then Blake Lively filed a suit in California against the studio responsible for the movie It Ends With Us, Justin Baldoni, and others, saying, among other things, not only a hostile work environment was created, but she filed a suit for extreme emotional distress. Then the New York Times reported all of this, and then Justin Baldoni sued the New York Times for defamation because they didn't get his side of the story, right? And then, Ben, it turned out that Justin Baldoni sued. Well, first of all, the attorney for Justin Baldoni sent an email or a letter to Marvel saying, you need to keep all the records involving the movie Deadpool and Wolverine because, the allegations goes, Ryan Reynolds had been part behind the scenes of protecting his wife about what was happening on set of It Ends With Us. But then Justin Baldoni accused Ryan Reynolds of making fun of him as a character in the movie Deadpool because there was a nice pull, and there were things that nice pull said in reference to Justin Baldoni. Am I correct? I feel like this is like Hollywood news, and I'm not used to doing entertainment reporting. So did I get this right, Cammie? You guys check me because I'm uncomfortable with this stuff.
It's a lot. It's been kind of almost like taking the media by storm kind of situation, like the Heard versus Depp situation too. It's a lot of lawsuits being thrown at each other, and yeah.
Cammie, what do you and I'm looking at the news, by the way, on the day that we're recording this 4th episode of Beyond the First. Apparently, Justin Baldoni's legal team is releasing footage of slow dance scene with Blake Lively. What is this all about?
So, in defense to Blake Lively saying that he was making her uncomfortable on set and like kind of leaning in for kisses that she didn't want, he released this video, which honestly made them both look kind of bad. It didn't make him look terrible, but in this whole situation, I don't really think anyone's either fully right, fully wrong. I think they're both too far gone, and I think they've both kind of ruined each other's reputations a lot, and I think that they should kind of just try and settle it because I think they're both in the wrong and they're both releasing terrible things about each other. So
yeah, this is according to Fox News that obtained the footage at Entertainment Tonight. Quote, the nearly 10-minute clip shows the actors' characters, Ryle Kincaid, which is Baldoni, and Lily Bloom, which is Lively, slow dancing. And Lively cited the scene in her December complaint against Baldoni as evidence that the actor ignored well-established industry protocols in filming intimate scenes and exploited the lack of controls on set to behave inappropriately. And so then I guess the following video captured on May 23rd, 2023, clearly refutes Miss Lively's characterization of his behavior. Clearly, Ben.
Yeah, no, as Cammie said, the video, like, it's a weird dynamic between them. He made a statement in his lawsuit against her that she made fun of the size of his nose, and it kind of is said like that, more in a joking way, but then there's also, she claimed that he was kissing her neck and being inappropriate, and he's definitely sort of doing that, but a big point of it is they're actors. They're trying to get into the scene. Whereas, the line drawn between being actors and then being inappropriate with your co-star. And going back to, like, the idea with Marvel and the nice pool, there's the whole idea of the intimacy coordinator wasn't there or wasn't hired to or wasn't taking enough precautions to make Blake Lively feel safe. And it's been a media fire fest of accusations being thrown. But
And I watched Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm a huge fan of Marvel. And I went back to watch that little clip where there's a scene with Deadpool where the evil character in Deadpool just mess with his brains, and then all of a sudden, Deadpool's like, and where is the intimate coordinator, right? And at first, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, that was funny. And then now that I know what's going on, I'm like, of course he's making parody of Justin Baldoni. And then one more thing to throw at you all, because I feel like this is Entertainment Podcast. This is Hollywood Reporter is reporting that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds seek a gag order against Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman. The couple allege that the no-holds-barred lawyer is violating judicial rules by using the media to exonerate his client. Now I understand. This is First Amendment law, right? And so now I understand, yes, we got, accusations of defamation, which is you've ruined my reputation. We got accusations of, you've caused, extreme emotional distress, which is you've been mean. But the whole point of defamation is that it is a check on how much you can say about someone else. But in this case, I still haven't found, Cammie, like, where is the case of defamation? The New York Times has the right to report this based on court filings. Ryan Reynolds, if he wants to make fun of Justin Baldoni, by parody, certainly that's protected. What am I missing?
Overall, I think we're kind of missing a lot, and I think that no one really knows the exact truth other than the evidence that, like, whatever Justin Baldoni will put out about their slow dancing video or whatever. It's kind of a he said, she said type thing, and I think it's just going back and forth like Depp v. Heard. I think it's similar in some ways in that it's a he said, she said thing, but theirs was kind of more of a defense thing. This is more like sabotage. They're both going at each other, just trying to sabotage each other's reputation now, so.
And your reference to Depp v. Heard is Johnny Depp suing his ex-wife, Amber Heard, for defamation because she wrote an op-ed piece in the Washington Post saying that she had experienced, part of the Me Too movement and domestic violence, but she equated what Johnny Depp had done at home with what Harvey Weinstein had done against women, right, in Hollywood. That turned out to be the case that Johnny Depp won for defamation. And I've made the case that, number one, Johnny Depp should never have won that case, right? A, could he prove all the elements of defamation? And then B, did Amber Heard have a defense of truth, right? Defense of opinion, Ben. But here, to Cammie's point, this is not about righting a wrong, but this is now powerful people in Hollywood going after each other and trying to tear each other apart. Do you think, as Cammie suggested, this thing is going to get settled, or is this going to be perfect education material for me for the next year or two when it comes to defamation law?
I think you can look at it in either way. I think that the New York Times aspect plays such a big part because it's his whole argument against the New York Times that they kind of acted in disregard of his opinion. And we've all read the article. It's not necessarily making any extreme case make him look good. So I think that while I do think that something like this has so many factors involved and so many other parties and so much money involved and so many reputations on the line for two huge stars and Ryan Reynolds, and they're involving Taylor Swift and all of these people, I don't necessarily see it coming down to a winner or a loser, especially if what Blake Lively says on one hand is true about what Justin Baldoni did, or if Justin Baldoni is right in the fact that New York Times was in disregard of his opinion and that he wasn't doing the things that she made him out to be doing on set, it could definitely turn into a settlement.
What do you think, Cammie? I mean, this is all kind of developing over the last month or two. I mean, Justin Baldoni, sued the New York Times. This was December of 2024, and he sued him for $250 million, accusing the Times of blindly accepting Lively's self-serving narrative. That's what he calls it. But yet, as a former journalist, I could tell you, right, that the newspapers have a right to report based on the complaint, on the legal document that Blake Lively filed in California just a few weeks before that. Is Baldoni using the law of defamation to recoup his image, to tear people apart, both? I mean, it just has a bad taste to me. I don't know if it has for you.
I think he's trying to defend himself while also being angry about everything that Blake Lively's saying. So, yeah, I think he has a kind of defamatory point of view on it, but I think overall he's trying to defend his reputation, his career going forward, because this could severely hurt his reputation and his ability to get jobs in the future and followers, and if people hate him or love him. And I think Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, too, they have such a big following just from everything. But Justin Baldoni, I mean, we both hadn't really heard of him until this. So I think he's definitely a little bit more panicked about his reputation and how it's going to hurt him going forward. So I think it was definitely purposefully defamatory, especially what the whole New York Times article said about burying her reputation. Like, this was intentional for him.
And yet, Ben, I look at, okay, so, he's saying, I want to reclaim back my reputation, but this is Hollywood, right? This is where, like, actors accused of, eating human beings can recoup their reputation. So I don't see how, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have a future. You're going to have a future. It is Hollywood. But to the point of how the public is eating this, I don't know about you, but I've gone on social media. I've gone on YouTube. It feels overwhelming that more people are leaning in favor of Baldoni and against Blake Lively and against Ryan Reynolds, where 6 months ago, 9 months ago, Ryan Reynolds was beloved as an actor, thanks in part to Marvel and Deadpool. Do you think that there's an effort out there to turn the public? Are we being manipulated?
Yeah, I think that a big part of his how can I say, like, his action, his game plan here is, as we talked about, I forgot the reporter's name, Kirsta Flaw, the lady that kind of came out saying that her interview with Blake Lively from years ago, she was acting rude to her. And it's kind of
rude and mean, and so therefore, you can't believe her. Yeah.
It kind of, the way that he went about it was smother the actual information, true or not, that about his misconduct towards Blake Lively with kind of just hateful, putting her in a hateful light to the public, which is honestly, in the kind of age that we live in now with the cancel culture and how people are so easily manipulated on social media, and how anybody can really get their point if they say something that goes viral or, more likes. And it's just the way that he's kind of manipulating the media is, for him, a smart move for how he kind of wants to smother the actual information. Yeah, I think that he's kind of going about it in a definitely taking advantage of kind of how the media works these days.
And taking advantage of the law, right? The law of defamation, the law of intentional infliction of emotional distress. So, all right, now that you all have seen the law and seen what's happened, what do you think, Cammie? Who wins? The legal issue. Forget the PR for just a moment. That's not my cup of tea. I'm a journalist. But in the end, if we're looking at intentional infliction of emotional distress between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, right, and the hostile work environment, that's not my area of expertise. But you got that case. Then you've got Justin Baldoni versus New York Times. And then you've got Justin Baldoni versus Ryan Reynolds and Marvel. Does he have a shot at the defense of Blake Lively's case or the plaintiff's case against the powerful? I don't know. Let's suppose that this was going to be a question on the final exam. Who do you think wins?
As of right now, with the information that we have, I think none of them win. I think that there's too much evidence against them both. I think they've both, like Justin Baldoni being caught for saying that he's going to bury Blake Lively, and I think Blake Lively kind of being caught in these lies, saying that, and these rumors of her being like territorial, overset, and like kind of not the way she portrayed herself. I think that her being caught in the lie and him kind of releasing all this evidence and saying he's going to bury her, I just don't think it ends well for either of them. But I think Blake Lively has a stronger argument in the end. I think Justin Baldoni really hurt himself and his reputation when he hired the same, I forget exactly.
The same PR company.
Yes.
That
Was
Johnny Depp had hired.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that kind of outed himself in the New York Times. I think that portion of it really hurt him in the end. So
Yeah.
I think Blake Lively potentially has a stronger argument, but not by much.
And Ben, this is Hollywood. We've known that Hollywood tends to take powerful women, women who have a voice, and somehow turns them into the bad person, right? They've done that. But what do you think? Who ends up winning and losing in this defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress case?
Right. I mean, if I understand the law correctly.
And you do, because you have a pretty cool teacher.
Definitely. It's Baldoni's burden. As the plaintiff, he has to prove that, first of all, the statements that were made by her throughout all of her accusations against him are true or false. He has to prove that they are false, and that she or the New York Times were, fighting with accusing with like actual malice.
Yeah,
and
being reckless right in the
regard of his opinion, which maybe he'd be able to get through citing the article, but at the same time, you never know which way it could go. I honestly am not exactly sure who I think is going to win this situation. I think it's so multi-layered, and I don't know. I'm excited to see.
My resolve here is that we do a Deadpool 4 movie, and then that somehow it's Deadpool and then a character the Baldoni plays. I don't know. I'm not even going to say it's a bad character. I'm just saying a character. And then afterwards, Cammie, they get along.
Exactly. That should happen.
That should happen. All right. That's it for this episode of Beyond the First. I'll see you at the movies. I'd rather go to the movies than talk about First Amendment law. Peace out.